The U.S. is trying to connect Hamas to Iran as much as they can because of what just happened in Israel. Now we've got reports, Kevin McCarthy, Ron DeSantis have been warning about this. They're saying Hamas has sent sleeper cells to the southern border. The next thing that happens is some kind of false flag or just an outright attack from Hamas. And then they say, see, that was Iran.
Yeah. I think ultimately that is the direction. I also think it's very difficult for the American people to keep up with all of the moving parts.
There are so many moving parts.
There's so many moving parts, and they share a complicated, intertwined regional history that we just are blind to in a lot of ways.
We don't really know it.
We don't really know
that
it,
history.
and we know,
but what's interesting though, and this is some research I was doing over the weekend actually, and last week, the history that we know of Israel and the Middle East is given to us primarily and given to our students by textbooks. And those textbooks were created, most of them, after 9/11 at this point. Mm-hmm. And they were heavily influenced by like the Center for Islamic Education that talked to the publishers and the textbook companies and made sure to have very positive views of Islam and very negative views of Judaism and Christianity. So when you see all of these high school students staging walkouts of like, saying like, free Palestine and like stand with Gaza and all of this stuff, they have been taught that in their history classrooms. That is what they have learned directly. And they have learned that directly because that's within the textbooks. These are textbooks that were adopted in California, and because California is such a huge market for educational materials, once it's in those textbooks, that's what's disseminated across the rest of the country. It downplays jihad. It downplays the concept of from the river to the sea, which is the eradication of Israel. It downplays Sharia law as something that just means get closer to God. It downplays the modesty laws and all of that stuff. I was reading in these textbooks, it even downplays the Islamic conquest. And it says that Islam spread. It doesn't say that Islam...
not saying it's spread by the sword?
It doesn't say that it's spread by the
water.
sword.
It just naturally trickles through the soil.
And it also says like that because that it's part of Islam that you can't convert people on purpose. And so therefore it's peaceful and Islam lives in harmony with other religions without actually mentioning the horrifying wars,
and
all of that stuff.
What the cultural implications are.
Yeah,
I mean, there's this story right now about this 16-year-old girl.
we covered that today at Human Events. Yeah,
she was beaten because she wasn't wearing her hijab correctly, I believe, and so she's in a vegetative state.
Dragged from a train.
Right, she's in a vegetative state. She, I assume, will not make it, which is extremely tragic. But in America, we get to say like, oh, it's just a different culture. We don't know what it's like there. It's gross. We would not let this happen here, I hope.
But we do let it happen here.
It's worse.
I mean, there's honor killings in the U.S.
Yeah, there are, but we don't talk about them.
Yes, but
that's
hold
the
on.
thing.
While there are many stories like that, there are women being victimized and beaten in the streets, and men, as crime is running rampant. We're now seeing like CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, and all these stores. 1,500 stores are closing over the rampant crime. So when we talk about, oh, it's so awful, this woman didn't wear her hijab and she was beaten, you're absolutely right. It's horrible. And then we have the story of the woman on the train in Philadelphia who was raped and everyone just watched it happen.
Right.
Then you have the story of the guy in New York City who saw the dude threatening the lives of the people on the train and said, I got to stop this guy with two other dudes. And then they tried to lock him up.
Yeah.
They're still trying to lock him up.
They're still trying to lock him up. Yeah.
So we're like, we would never let it happen here. And here's a guy who tried to save the lives of people on a train. And one woman said that man saved our lives and the police are locking him up in jail. So we got those problems.
I don't think it's that we don't let bad things happen here. It's just the specific modesty laws don't exist here the same way, except when they're enforced culturally. By
we got it the other direction.
I know.
This is the problem. I mean, it's like we have the mirror image to the Iran problem. Iran's problem is they're beating women for not wearing a hijab. They shouldn't be doing that. And then they kill this young woman. There's protests. And then in the United States, the inverse, where they're putting these lewd and lascivious books in schools. And we're like, man, where's the middle ground? Like, let women wear, sexy clothes, but don't give kids these books with graphic material in them.
And it's weird because the same progressives that are saying, yes, put those books in school are the same ones chanting in favor of Hamas.
Exactly.
Right.